happy smile makes your heart feel brighter.
A little boy called Smiley,
Who makes the cares of the day seem lighter.
that freckle-faced young Smiley.
Though at first you'd think the worst and say that he looks a disgrace,
Yet when he grins, that cheeky grin, you don't seem to know he's got a dirty face.
who leads the kids when there's mischief brewing,
That barefoot boy called Smiley,
who gets the blame when there's something ruined.
it's Smiley every time.
But he makes you forget you are wild with his cute, irresistible smile. Every dad would be glad if he had a lad like that little boy called Smiley.
Joey, look. That's the police station. If the sergeant caught you, he'll put you in a lockup. Go on. I want to approach unseen like Ned Kelly, saving the damsel in distress. I'm off.
Smiley! Come in here. Come here. Give me that.
What, Sarge?
You know. Who slipped the wasp down Jean's knickers? Smiley. Who let off fireworks in Sunday school? Smiley. Who put the frog in Mrs. Gaspin's bed? Smiley. Who pinched his dad's cigarettes and smoked himself sick? Smiley. If you don't reform soon, you're going to drive me and everybody else in Murrumbilla crackers.
Sorry, Sarge.
Don't you realize that these can be very dangerous weapons?
Didn't you have a catapult when you was a boy?
No, I didn't. I wasn't a young larrikin like you. I was responsible. I was allowed to have a .22 rifle. In fact, this one.
I wish I had a gun. I'd be a famous bushranger and lead a gang of desperados.
There you go again with that famous imagination of yours. I've just told you, guns are for responsible people.
I'm responsible.
Murrumbilla Police. Yeah, speaking. Oh, hello, Mrs. Brooks. No. All you have to do is to fill it in, leave it with me, and I'll do the rest. No, no hurry. Anytime you're passing, goodbye. Did I hurt you?
It's excruciating.
Oh, I'm sorry, Smiley. But let that be a lesson to you. Don't ever point a gun.
But it ain't loaded, Sarge. I look to see.
The gun's always loaded, and the horse always kicks. Now, you've learned that at school, haven't you?
Yes, sir.
And you talk about being responsible. Now, get. Smiley! I suppose I'm crazy, but I'll make a deal with you. You'd give anything to have this rifle, wouldn't you? All right, then. If you can prove that you're really responsible, the gun's yours.
I can have the gun all to myself?
And what's more, I'll give you 20 rounds to go shooting with.
Gee, Sarge, you're a real sport and no error. How can I prove I'm responsible?
Just by keeping out of trouble, by helping other people and so on. Now, for every responsible thing you do, I'll give you 1 or more marks. But for every irresponsible thing, I'll take 1 or more away.
How'll he keep score?
Come on.
Hey, Bill, you got an axe?
What's he been up to this time?
Smiley and I have just made a little deal.
A what?
Now, every time you earn a mark, I'll put a nick in this tree. 8 nicks, and the gun's yours. And there's a free one to start you off.
Gee, you're a real sport, Sarge. Ma, can I sweep the yard?
What's the matter? Are you ill?
I'm being responsible.
You know where the broom is.
8 marks, he'll never make it.
Thanks for trying, Sergeant, but you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
We'll see.
What a hope.
Maybe you underestimate him.
Well, he's my kid, Eddie. I ought to know.
You know, he reminds me of my own lad back in Brisbane. I got half a quid to say you're wrong.
You're betting he'll get his 8 nicks on the gun?
That's right.
It's a bet, mate.
Hey, see what I mean? Like to double it?
Smiley! What do you think you're doing? Can't you see I just washed those?
Sorry, Ma.
Yeah, you bet I'll double it, Stiffy.
So, when the bore eventually strikes, the water will go gushing up and we'll have ample water, even during the droughts, for all purposes. Gardening, and stock, household uses and so on. Have any of you ever seen a bore?
Please, sir, I seen one in Dongari.
What's your grammar, Val? Smiley, would you say you seen or you saw a bore in Dongari?
No, sir.
What's that?
I ain't never been to Dongari, sir.
Tell us what a bore is like, Val.
It's a lot of water coming out of a big pipe in the ground. And it's boiling hot.
Well, not quite boiling.
And people that's got rheumatics sit in the water and get cured.
Thank you, Val. And thank you for reminding me about rheumatics. I promised to send some bees over to Granny McKinley for hers. Now, while the subject of the bore is fresh in your minds, I want you to write a letter to someone telling them about it. Take over, Miss McCann.
Right, now, pens and paper.
Please, miss, who'll we write to?
Well, anyone you like, a friend or relation.
Who are you going to write to? Me Aunt Lizzie in Melbourne, who are you? Ned Kelly. Ned Khan, he's dead. Captain Cook, he's dead too. Oh, I know. Who? I'm not going to tell. You might copy.
Get water coming up through the ground, we'll be able to grow lots of flowers and vegetables. And there'll never be a drought again. Your affectionate niece, Val Baker.
Very nice, Val. Now let's hear yours, Smiley.
Her Majesty the Queen, Buckingham Palace, London, England, United Kingdom, Northern Hemisphere, the world, the solar system.
Well, I imagine that should find her. Go on.
Dear Queen, they are sinking a bore here so there won't be no more droughts. And when you come to see us, there'll be lots of water so you can have a bath. If I'm responsible and get 8 nicks for good conduct, the sergeant said he'll give me a Butte 22 rifle. Gosh, is that true, Smiley?
Bet he's making it up. I bet he is.
It's true. It is so.
You big liar. You shut him.
Quiet. Quiet, everyone.
Please, teacher, it is true about the gun.
Well, if it means you're going to turn over a new leaf, I'm very glad to hear it. Now read us the rest of your letter.
The bore is being sunk by a bloke called Mr. Stiffy. Yours truly, Smiley William Thomas Grievens.
Well done. And if you're really serious about wanting to be responsible, I'll ask Mrs. Gaspin if you can pump the organ on Sunday.
Gosh.
Please, miss, that's my job.
Sit down, Fred.
It's not fair. Just because...
Look, I've had just about enough of you for one day. I said sit down.
Please, teacher, I'll pump like mad.
Well, not too like mad. All you've got to do is to keep the plummet down to the right mark. Now, class dismiss.
Fred Jackson,
Yes, sir?
you're the oldest boy in the school. I want you to do something for me.
Anything you like, sir.
I want you to take these bees to Granny McKinley.
Granny?
What's the matter?
My mum reckons she's a witch, sir.
She cooks up magic brews out of snakes and goannas and things.
And utters curses and cast evil spells.
Nonsense. She's just a bit eccentric, that's all. Come on, Fred. And see you give them to her personally.
I feel sick, sir.
Whereabouts?
In me stomach, sir.
In that case, go home and tell your mother I said you're to have a dose of castor oil.
Oil? But...
You heard me.
Yes, sir.
Please, sir, I'll take the bees, sir.
Good for you, Smiley. But why this sudden helpfulness?
Because if I can prove myself responsible, the sergeant says he'll give me a nick.
A nick?
It's not worth a nick, Smiley. Her room's full of toads and vipers.
And when it's full moon, she goes to the cemetery and digs up corpses.
Stop it, both of you. Take no notice, Smiley. They're just trying to frighten you.
I ain't scared. I'll take the bees, sir.
What's all this about nicks?
Seems that if he can earn 8 marks for good conduct, the sergeant's promised him a gun.
You'll never make it.
I'm not so sure. I know he's always in trouble, but when he makes up that little mind of his...
I hope you're right.
Gee, you must be in fear and trembling. I ain't scared of old Granny. Maybe she'll let me see her gold. She ain't got no gold. Fred says she's got a big box that hid in her room. That's just kid state. I bet it ain't. I bet it is. What do you do? She grabs you, scratches with her nails, and gives you blood poison. Turn it up, Joey. You die in excruciating agony. Look! Vultures. They always fly around when there's a chance of a corpse. Stop it, can't you? You're giving me the willies. Good luck, Smiley. Thanks, Joey.
Hello, Smiley. Who gave you money to spend?
Who's
there? Haven't you got something a little darker than this?
I got some bees for Granny.
Bees? Someone brought my bees. Oh, take 'em in, Smiley. Can't you see I'm busy? I got some new ones in yesterday. Oh, good.
I want my bees.
Where's me bees? Who are you?
Smiley Grievens.
You've come to steal my gold.
No, I haven't. Honest, I haven't.
Oh, yes, you have. Everyone's after poor old Granny's gold. I know. But they ain't gonna get it, see? Nobody's gonna get it. You hear me, boy?
Yes, Granny. I brought your bees.
Oh, me bees, me lovely bees. The doctor, he's always wanted to stick a needle in me. But he thanked the way God meant things to be. That's why God made the bees, so's they could cure people's rheumatics. Ain't that right? You're a good boy. You brought poor old Granny her bees. Will you come and see me again? Promise? Say it.
I promise.
Smiley.
Gee, thanks, Granny.
That's for bringing me the bees and being a good boy.
Gosh, you're a real sport, no error.
Now, mind, you promised you'd come again and talk to old Granny.
Too right I will. Ta-ra, Granny. Joey! How'd you get on? It was flabbergasting. There was bats and owls flying round
Go on.
lizards and snakes, and Granny had a tall black hat on. She was cooking a witch's brew, and she caught me by the wrist and dug her talons into me. Gee, it was excruciating. Where'd you get the lollies? I pinched them as I fought my way out. Gee, I'm your cobber, aren't I? You take bees to Granny and get your own lollies. Here. Oh, thanks. I had to go through terrible agony for them. Did you see the gold? Too right I did. It was in treasure just as big as that. And it was a lot of great big doublins. Great big what? Doublins. Gold doublins and pieces of 8. Granny must have been a pirate once and sailed the Spanish Main. How can a feminine gender be a pirate? Well, she must have been a pirate's daughter and had it left to her in his will. Bet your pirates don't make no wills. Bet you they do. Bet you they write them in blood. Joey! Gosh, I won't half cop it. It's me bath night. See you at church. You won't. I'll be blowing the organ.
You want to wipe them nicks out?
No, not this time. Meet Mr. Quirk. This is Bill Grieven.
How do you do? How do you do?
Mr. Quirk's just up from Sydney. He's a writer.
Oh.
A very minor one.
He wants some local colour for a new book, so I'm giving him a quick tour of the sights.
I'm one of them, I suppose, eh?
If you want the real, genuine lowdown on the seamy side of country life, Bill's just the man to supply it.
Yeah, and if he tries to cover up, I'll fill in the gaps.
Aye, break it down, you two. You'll be ruining my reputation. Meet the missus, Mr. Quirk.
I'm delighted to meet you, Mrs. Grievens.
And there's the rest of the family. William Thomas Grievens, Jr., better known to the world as Smiley. He's the biggest larrikin in town.
Hello, Smiley.
Hello.
Where did you get the lolly?
Granny McKinley gave them to me.
Smiley?
It's true, Ma. Granny and me are real cobbers.
To my certain knowledge, no kid's ever been near Granny McKinley. All right, Smiley, come clean. Where did you get 'em?
From Granny.
Now cut it out, Smiley, and tell the truth.
I did so, Ma. I took some bees from Mr. Stevens. I went right into her room and gave them to her, and she grabbed me by the wrist. Gee, it was flabbergasting.
You sure she didn't put the vampires onto you? Or cut you up and stew you for supper?
That ain't fair. A bug tries to do something responsible, so he'll earn a nick, and this is what happens.
So that's it, eh?
There's no justice in this place.
Just a minute, Smiley. Give me the axe, Bill. Come here, kid. If what you just told us about Granny McKinley's true, you're a very brave boy and you deserve a nick. In fact, you deserve 2 nicks. There. But if I ever find out you've been telling me another one of your whoppers, I'll wipe out not only these 2, but the one you've already got. Is that clear?
Yes, sir. Gosh, Ma, 3 already. Only 5 more nicks through, and I'll have me gun. I'll shoot goannas and crows and bandicoots and kanga. No, not them. Whatever happens, Roo, I promise I'll never shoot one of you.
Get the axe, Bill. I'm sorry, Mrs. Grievens, but I've got no alternative. I put the boy on trust, and all he did was to make a fool of me.
But how could he have let the goat in? He was busy pumping.
I found the door closed. I suppose the goat shut it after he came in.
Well, the wind might have done.
Nonsense, Mrs. Grievens. There wasn't any wind. Besides, I saw him pushing him in.
But if the kid's given his word...
His word? Ah, what's the good of making excuses? There's no one else could have done it. This is the sort of prank he was always up to in the past. The sort of prank I thought I'd cured him of. Let that be a lesson to you.
Yes, indeed.
Cheer up, Smiley.
Never mind, Smiley. You'll win through in the end. I'm sure you will.
Come on, Smiley. Let's go down to the river. Justice has miscarried. I'm an innocent victim of a malignant fate. That's what I am. I'm going to take poison and shoot myself.
Well, now, we can't have him committing suicide in an empty stomach, can we? Here, why don't you take him down and buy him some lollies first, eh?
Oh, thanks, Mr. Stiffy. Come on, Smiley. You can buy lollies. I'm buying arsenic.
Would you like a cup of tea, Miss McCowan?
I'd love one.
Yeah, it's too bad, poor kid.
Yeah. Hey, that bet of yours don't look too good neither.
Care to double up again?
You bet I will.
Hello, Joey. What do you want?
I'll have 6 worth of caramel and 6 worth of licorice.
Hello, Smiley. What's the matter with you?
I'm fed up. I'm going to run off to sea and stow away in a windjammer.
Who's there? Is that Smiley grieving?
Yes, Granny, it's me.
Come here. I want to see you.
You come too. Not on your life. Gosh, you ain't scared of old Granny, are you? Too right, I'm scared.
Smiley! Come over close so I can see you. Goodness me, that's a sulky way to look when you're visiting an old lady.
I've been victimated, Granny. That ain't fair.
But what happened?
I was going to get another nick today for pumping the organ. Only a goat got into the church and tripped up the sergeant with the collection.
Did he come a cropper?
A beaut, right in the middle of the aisle. It's all right for you to laugh, but it cost me all my nicks.
Oh, I wish I'd been there. Just the sort of thing Dugan would have done.
Who's Dugan?
Me son. Me only son. Stand over there in the light, Smiley. That's it, that's it. Don't move.
But, Gran,
I knew there was something from the moment I set eyes on you. And you know what it is? It's the way you stand, straight and upright. Just like Dugan when he was a kid. So full of life he was. Always up to some mischief, same as you.
But, Gran, I never done it. Honest, I never. A bloke tries to be responsible, and that's what happens.
Don't give in, Smiley. There's other ways of getting nicks and guns. Shall I show you something?
You bet.
Here it is. There he is. That was my Dugan when he was about the same age as you. Dugan. My boy Dugan. That day the mine caved in, I thought I'd never get over it. What are you looking for?
I thought there might be some gold.
You mind your own business. You're like everyone else. You want to peer and pry.
Sorry, Granny. I didn't mean nothing. I know there ain't really no gold, but all the kids say...
Say what?
I reckon that's why I never go out, 'cause you sit here all day guarding it.
So that's what they say, is it? But what else do they expect me to do? Leave it lying around for anyone to steal?
I'd better go now, Gran. Ta-da.
Smiley! No, it's not just me old eyes deceiving me. You are. In so many ways, you're the dead spit of my Dugan. Come here. If I show you something very secret, will you promise never to tell a soul?
I promise, Gran.
You got to swear it.
Cross me out and cut me throat.
Lock the door.
You bet.
Is the back door locked?
Not a soul could get in, Granny.
Anyone watching through the window?
No one's there, Granny.
Come here. Help me to move this chest. This is what Duggan got when he struck it rich.
Gee, I just want the suit that felt like.
Nobody but you's ever seen my gold. Not even Elsie.
The more I think about it, the more I reckon that sergeant was wrong.
Of course, Smiley done it. How else could the goat have got in?
Well, the kid gave his word.
That kid's always up to some kind of mischief.
I still don't think he should have lost his nicks.
Why do you think we locals have all bet against Smiley? Because we've known that kid since he was born.
Well, he looks straight enough to me.
Is it the kid you're worried about, or the dough you and your gang have bet on him?
Look out, here he comes now. G'day, Joey.
Hello, Uncle Tom.
Hey, kid. Not feeling too bad about losing them nicks, I hope?
Not in your life. I'll get them back if it's the last thing I do.
Good on you, son. That's the way to talk.
Can you give me a job so I can prove myself responsible?
Sure. Start greasing that piping if you like.
You bet.
Hey, Joey.
Hey, Joey, how's Smiley feeling about that raw deal he got? Bet he's mighty sore with the sergeant, huh?
Too righty.
Look, I got a good idea for him to get even. All he's got to do is put this under the sergeant's house and scare the life out of him.
What is it?
Gunpowder, what we use for blasting.
Gunpowder.
It can't do no harm. Look, I'll show you. See what I mean?
But the sergeant might copy him.
Not if he was to use a length of fuse. Time this went off, Smiley be half a mile away. Don't you reckon it's a good idea, Joey?
Too right.
There you are. Matches?
Thanks. You'll never guess what I've got. What? I can't tell you here. It's a dark, deadly secret. I'll buzz off, will you? I'm being responsible. It's flabbergasting. It's the most flabbergasting thing you ever saw.
Doing all right, son? Well, I'll be back in a little while. Gotta get some more piping.
I'll go on greasing like mad, Mr. Stiffy.
That's my boy. If I see the sergeant, I'll tell him.
All clear now, Stiffy.
Good.
What is it you got, Joey? Go on, show me. I'm your cobber, ain't I? What's that? Gunpowder. What are you going to do with it? Uncle Tom thought you might have some fun. What sort of fun? Like putting some under the sergeant's house and giving him a scare. That wouldn't be responsible. You and your old responsible. I got a better idea. What is it? Let's go in the bush and shoot some crows. You can't shoot with powder. You have to have a gun. I know where there's a gun. Race it.
No, not a sign, Mark.
He knows perfectly well he should be taking the washing. I bet he's up to no good with that Joey.
You better go, Smiley. I'm going shooting. Your mum's a terror. She'll be mad at you. I'm going shooting. Smiley. Come on.
Hi, Bill. Got time to fix a loose shoe?
Yeah, you bet I have.
What I've got here would kill an elephant. Supposing we're attacked by a herd of elephants. I'll pick them off one by one. With that old blunderbuss. I know. I'll send a smoke signal to Ned Kelly saying we're in deadly peril. What is it? An eagle waiting to attack us. Gone. It's just an old crow.
Hello? I wonder who's out shooting today.
Search me.
Are you hurt, Smiley? It's excruciating. Bet you I've broken my shoulder. Bet you I have to have my arm amputated. Look! What a beaut! Look! Gosh, you started a fire! It's not good. It's out of control. What are we gonna do? It's heading for the fort. We've got to warn him.
Never thought I'd be so glad to see you, Copper.
Joey.
Stretcher, quick.
You won't tell him I started the fire, will you? Of course I won't.
Come on, boy. Looks as though she's just about licked.
Looks like it. Thanks to you, fellas. I wonder how it started.
That's what I aim to find out.
That's a nasty-looking bruise. Where did you get it?
It must have been up at the fire.
I'll get some liniment.
Hey, son, you want it over here?
Who by?
The sergeant.
What mischief have you been up to this time?
Nothing, Ma.
Get yourself dressed.
Yes, Ma.
What's the matter? What's he been up to now?
What I have to say to him's personal, Mrs. Grievens.
Well, don't be too hard on the boy. He was hurt fighting the fire.
Smiley?
He got a big bruise on his shoulder.
Oh, he has he? Smiley Grievens, come here. So you got that fighting the bushfire, eh?
Yes, sir.
Where's that gun? Do you recognize this, Bill?
Yeah, it's mine. It's only an old bit of junk.
It can still shoot. Where do you usually keep it?
In the smithy.
Well, there's the proof. The gun, the bruise, the bushfire, everything. And I thought I could trust you. You gave me a word, too. Then you go out and start a bushfire and nearly wreck the boar. Why did you do it? You know that starting a bushfire is a criminal offense, don't you? Well, for Pete's sake, why did you do it? Why? Well, from now on, as far as I'm concerned, our bargain's off. You can get yourself 1,000 nicks, but you'll never get any gun out of me.
Let's find that liniment.
He's never had a strife, eh? Still, as the old saying goes, every cloud has its silver lining. Come on.
How you going, Sarge?
What's by the name?
Hello, Sergeant.
Dr. Gaspin around?
Yes, I'll see if I can find him for you.
Oh, hello, Sergeant.
I just dropped in to see how young Joey was getting along.
Oh, you'll be all right. He's just a few first-degree burns, that's all.
Good.
Sergeant, as a doctor, I shouldn't talk about my patients, but I don't like to see kids get into trouble. There's something I think you ought to know.
Oh?
Well, we had to give young Joey a touch of anesthetic, and as he was going under, he kept shouting about the fire.
What about it?
Well, he was raving a bit, but 3 or 4 times he said quite clearly, "You won't tell him I started the fire, will you, Smiley?"
You beauty. Hiya, fellas.
Don't worry, Smiley. I'll look after you. What's wrong now? Haven't you punished him enough?
Smiley, come here. Put it there, Smiley. I take back everything I said.
Do you mean to say he didn't start the fire?
Of course he didn't.
Oh, Smiley, why didn't you tell us?
Because he was protecting his cobber, that's why.
Oh, Smiley, I'm so glad.
How many nicks did you have, Smiley?
3.
Right. There they are. And an extra one for your prompt warning about the fire. And another one for not splitting on young Joey.
Gee, 5 nicks. I must tell Roo.
And speaking of old sayings, isn't the one that goes, he laughs best who laughs last?
Come on, change back that let's have it. You like a thought you bet. Just a question of time. Smiley will never make it.
5 nicks, Roo. And the teacher's taught me a special poem for the concert. Perhaps if I say it right, they'll give me another one. Last Postnia of Collusium, by the 9 gods he swore, that the great house of Tarquin should suffer wrong no more. By the 9 gods he swore it, and named a trysting day, and bade his messengers ride forth to summon his array.
Is that what you got to recite tonight, son?
Yes, Dad.
It's not going to go down too good with Stiffy and the ball gang.
Why not?
Well, it'll be right over their heads. They won't know what it's about. I'd give them something else if I was you.
I don't know nothing else.
I know one. How about if I teach it to you?
There'd be no time.
Ah, it's only short. You'll learn her in 5 minutes.
What's it called?
It's called the Dogs' Meeting. The dogs once had a meeting. They come from near and far.
What's going on?
Can't a bloke have a friendly talk with his own son?
Better finish dressing. We've got to leave soon.
Yes, Mum.
Now, where was I here? Yeah. And some they come by railway train, and some by motor car. But here inside the meeting hall, they were allowed to look.
If so be you ask me where they do grow, I'll answer them. Where my Julia's lips do smile, is the land of cherry isle. There's the land of cherry isle. Cherry ripe, ripe I cry. Full and fair ones come and buy. Cherry ripe, ripe I cry. Full and fair ones come and buy.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, I shall...
Thank you, Mrs. Gaspin. Thank you very, very much. Now, the next item on the program is to be a recitation by Smiley Greenland.
Don't you worry, boys. I fixed this ball gang once and for all. Your bets is going to be as safe as houses.
Good for you.
Smiley will now recite How Horatius Kept the Bridge. My mistake. He's changed his mind and he's going to recite the dog's meeting.
The dog's meeting. The dogs once had a meeting. They came from near and far. Some they came by railway train and some by motor car. But ere inside the meeting hall they were allowed to look, each had to take their backside off and hang it on a hook.
You bad boy. You naughty, horrible, vulgar little boy. You ought to be thoroughly ashamed of yourself.
Oh, fair go, Mrs. Gaspin. I'm sure he didn't mean any harm.
No, of course he didn't.
Of course he did. It was deliberate. He's a nasty, dirty-minded little boy, and I insist he be punished.
Oh, break it down, lady.
Yeah, leave the kid alone.
Those good conduct marks on his tree. You must obliterate them at once.
Oh, no.
That'll teach him.
Yeah, that's right. Cut them all out.
Not on your life. He earned them marks fair and square. They stay.
You're only sticking up for the kid because you bet on him.
And you want them marks rubbed out because you bet against him.
Too quick you are.
What do you mean you are?
What's all this about bets?
You're going to blow it twice, sir.
And that goes for you.
We've struck water.
Come on, get moving.
You wait, you see it. It's flabbergasting, just like a tap coming out of the ground, only a million times as big. There's as much water as the Pacific Ocean.
Go on, you're exaggerating.
Betcha there is. Well, almost as much anyway.
What about the fire, Smiley?
Oh, that.
Does anyone know I started it? You haven't split on me, have you?
Of course I ain't.
If they ever find out it was me.
You got nothing to worry about. They're all so excited about the ball, they forgot all about the fire.
Honest?
Honest. I bet that old sergeant hasn't. Of course he has.
Shh. Oh, hello, kids. Well, I'm afraid you've got to buzz off, Smiley. It's time for Joey's dressings.
So long, Cobber. See you tomorrow.
Ta-da.
I think it is. Oh, Joey.
Hello, Smiley.
Morning, Mr. Quirk. You write your book?
That's exactly what I'm doing.
What are you putting in it?
All about Marambilla and the fire and...
You're not saying Joey started it?
Why not?
Because he doesn't know no one knows.
Well, once he's out of hospital, the sergeant will tell him soon enough.
Perhaps if I ask the Sarge.
And at the moment, I'm writing about an old friend of yours, Granny McKinley. Would you like to hear what I've said?
You bet.
All right, then wait it up. There we are. Our time has not dealt lightly with Marambilla's oldest inhabitant. The years have impaired her mental faculties.
Don't that make she's a half-wit?
More or less. Like many elderly people, she has the delusion that others are plotting to rob her of her possessions. Because of this, she rarely ventures from her room, and a local legend has grown up that she's guarding a secret hoard of gold. There is, of course, no foundation for this.
There is so.
Oh, now, Smiley, everyone knows that that gold of hers is a figment of the imagination.
I don't know what a figment is, but whatever it is, it ain't one.
Surely a sensible boy like you doesn't believe that story?
She gave me a Captain Cook.
A what?
A look.
You've seen Granny's gold? Ah, you're pulling a leg.
But I have. It's a lot of golden sovereigns in a big tin box.
And where does she keep it? Under her pillow?
No, under a loose board in the floor. You made me tell. I swore I wouldn't tell nobody.
Oh, that's all right, Smiley. I promise I won't breathe it to a living soul.
Cross your heart and cut your throat.
Cross my heart, cut the throat.
Bye, Mr. Quirk.
Where are you off to?
Go and see the Sarge about Joey.
Good on you, kid. And if you can persuade him to keep his mouth shut, I promise to say nothing about Joey in the book.
Gee, thanks, Mr. Quirk. Can I come in, Sarge?
Ah, it's you, Smiley. Know anything about mending telephones? No, of course you don't.
Won't it work?
You don't think I'm doing this for fun, do you?
Sarge,
Yeah.
you ain't gonna do nothing about Joey, are you?
What about Joey?
He never meant to start the fire. Honest, he never.
That's no excuse, and you know it.
He's had bad enough time already, getting burned and everything.
Well, I'll think about it.
Well, how are you gonna answer it?
From the extension in the bedroom. Marambilla, please. Oh, it's you, Mr. Quirk. You have? Good. Not a bad idea at all. She's certainly the obvious choice, but I wouldn't like to bet she'll do it. You really think he could? Yes, you might be right at that. Goodbye. That was Mr. Quirk. He's got a great idea. There's so much jealousy amongst all the women around here about who's going to open the bore. He suggests to avoid it, we get Granny McKinley.
Granny? She'd never do it.
She's the obvious choice, oldest inhabitant. She's endured the droughts longer than anyone.
But she hasn't been out of her house for years.
That's where you come in, Smiley. You're a best friend. If anybody can get her to do it, you can.
She wouldn't listen to me.
Oh, you never know. I'll tell you what. If you can get her to do it, I'll give you 3 extra nicks, and the gun's yours. That's a promise, Smiley.
Gosh.
Now, why don't you run down there? Right away. Go on.
Too right.
Not on your life. They needn't think they can trick old Granny like that.
Nobody's trying to trick you.
Oh, yes, they are. I know 'em too well. And for one thing, I don't approve of the bore. It's sinful.
How can a bore be sinful?
Water's like everything else. It should come the way God meant it. Besides, no one's going to drag me away from guarding me gold. You ain't told nobody. You ain't given away my secret.
I ain't even told Joey, and he's me best cover.
You swear you haven't said a word to him?
I swear. Remember when I lost all my nicks? You told me not to give up, didn't you?
That's right.
Well, the sergeant said if you open the bore, all me sins will be forgiven and I'll get me gun.
You want that gun badly, don't you, Smiley?
You bet.
You're a good boy. You've been kind to old Granny. And now it's my turn. I suppose if I left Elsie to guard me gold... Now, what shall I wear?
Would you take that seat there, please, Mr. Prothero? And that's your seat there, Reverend. And will you remember to go right down the front, right to the edge of the pool for the blessing? Look out! Here they come!
me gold. It'll be all right, Granny. Elsie's gardening. Oh, I've never trusted her to watch over it before. Gosh, Granny, stop worrying.
Well, the kid got Granny all right. That means he gets his gun.
Yeah, you win. I'm glad for Smiley's sake anyway.
Well, I think the kid deserves it.
Good for you, kid. I never thought you'd get her here.
What about the gun?
This evening, when this lot's over, we'll have another little ceremony.
Gosh. Smiley!
Come on, kid.
Smiley! I'm here, Gran. Oh.
To your gracious majesty, the Queen of Maramvilla, greetings, and our grateful thanks that you have seen fit to honor us with your presence on this, our day of celebration. With your majesty's approval, it is now my duty to present to you some of your majesty's humble subjects. The Right Honourable Horace Prothero, our Member of Parliament and a Justice of the Peace.
Your Majesty.
The Reverend Galbraith, Vicar to our community.
Your Majesty. God never meant water to be dug for. He meant it to come from the heavens.
Turn it up, Gran.
And now a very distinguished visitor, that brilliant author, Mr. Quirk. Mr. Quirk, please.
Quirk?
Mr. Quirk?
You sure it's all right? Me gold, I mean.
Mr. Quirk, please.
I don't think Mr. Quirk will be here today. He has a touch of the sun, so he's probably decided to stay indoors.
Oh, dear, dear. Thank you, Doctor. And finally, Your Majesty, another distinguished visitor to your domain. A man to whom our humble thanks are due for having sunk the bore and made today possible, Mr. Patrick Mulligan.
Your Majesty, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to bore you with a long speech. I say I don't want to bore you. But I would like to say this. You've got a real nice town here, and nice people. Me and my mates have had a real good time. A bit of a dust-up the other night, but all in good fun. And I'd like you to know this. We'd be really sorry to leave the place.
Everything right, Elsie?
Of course it is.
No, I've been in Granny's room.
Oh, don't be soft. They're all up at the ball.
Granny keeps worried about her old gold.
Oh, her and her old gold.
Mind if I have a look?
You're getting as daft as she is. Go on.
It's okay, Elsie.
Satisfied?
Yep. Hurrah.
Ta-ta.
And finally, on this auspicious occasion, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that it was the government that got you this bore. So, when the next elections come along, I hope you'll remember that. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Protheroe. And now, friends, the great moment. The moment we've all been waiting for. It is with pride and pleasure that I now call upon Granny McKinley to open the bore.
Where's Smiley?
Smiley!
I ain't budging without him.
Smiley! Smiley!
I'm here, Gran.
Where have you been?
I had to leave the room.
You promised you wouldn't leave me side.
Well, let's get on with it, shall we?
Good Lord, we thank thee for thy bountiful blessing.
Keep your prayers till I'm back on dry land. This water's flaming hot. I now declare this bore well and truly open. Me feet. Me poor old feet.
Mrs. McKinley, you were great. You've given Murrumbilla the best day it's had in years.
Thank you, Sergeant.
I'll get you a nice cup of tea.
Thank you, my dear.
Well, so long, Mrs. McKinley. So long, Smiley. I'll see you later.
I'm coming now.
No, Smiley, stay with me a while.
But, Gran.
Oh, please.
Gee, it was a beaut opening. You were flabbergasted.
I was so nervous I thought I'd die.
You didn't look it. You looked like a real queen.
Did I?
What's the matter, Gran?
Me gold. I've got to see me gold's all right.
Of course it's all right.
Well, we got to make sure. Come and help me move this chest.
There, just the same as you left it.
We got to make sure. What's this?
A brick.
Me gold. It's gone. You took it. You took me gold.
No.
You was the only one who knew where it was. That's why you ran away from the boer.
It ain't true. It ain't.
Me gold.
Smiley, stop him! Stop him! Stop Smiley! Stop him! Stop him!
Smiley! Smiley!
What's the matter, Elsie?
Granny thinks he's taken a cold.
Oh, you know how she is. It's gone, I tell you! Stop him! Stop Smiley! Stop thief!
Hey, what's up?
They're shouting for Smiley.
Smiley! Smiley!
Goodbye, Roo. I'm a fugitive from justice. There's a price on my head.
He'll come back. Any news?
Not a sign, Ma.
He didn't do it. I know he didn't.
It's what the sergeant hopes too, but the girl's gone and Smiley's gone, so he can't help putting two and two together.
Maybe he took fright and got bushed like last time.
Yes, they're starting a search first thing in the morning.
Come on, Roo. That's my boy.
All right, get a move on you fellas. You've got a long way to go.
Okay, Stubby. Bet we don't make so much easy dough at the next place. How much did you make out of the kid?
£2.50 quid. And you?
$3 quid, me.
That's chicken feed. You should see what I took off Smiley's dad.
Hello, what's this?
It's a kid.
It's Smiley.
Hey, Stubby.
Hello, Smiley.
Hello, Mr. Stiffy.
Looks as though we've drawn a blank, Bill. He couldn't have got this far in the time.
Keep looking, Sarge. For goodness sake, keep looking.
So I shot off not knowing where to go. And when I'd run for hundreds and hundreds of miles, I saw your camp. And...
You've done the wrong thing running away, Smiley. That's the last thing you should have done.
But I'm a fugitive from justice. I'm an outlaw with a price on my head. If they ever catch me now, I'll spend the rest of my life in jail.
Smiley, when a bloke's innocent, his best chance is to face up to the music and let justice take its course. I'm gonna take you back.
No.
Come on now. You leave this to me.
Let me go. What's going on? Smiley's mum, she don't half look upset.
Then you didn't actually see him leave?
No.
But you did see him come back after the final speech?
Yes.
Did you ask him where he'd been?
He said he'd had to leave the room.
He didn't tell you he'd been back to Murrumbilla?
No, sir.
Any questions, Mr. Stevens?
No, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Grievance.
Miss Elsie McKinley, please.
Don't worry, Smiley. Everything will be all right.
That's finished, his Mum. Now it's Elsie.
So he asked if everything was all right, then he went into Granny's room. Did you go with him?
No.
How long was he in there?
Oh, it didn't seem more than a minute or so.
Did you see him come out?
No, I was busy with some seedlings and had my back to him.
So he might or he might not have had the gold.
Oh, I'm sure he didn't.
How can you say that when you didn't see him?
If he'd taken the gold, he'd have sneaked out the back way, wouldn't he?
I do not want your opinions, young lady. I only want the facts.
Yes, sir.
I bet you they give him 20 years. Bet you they don't. Bet you they do. He's a thief, isn't he? Don't you call my cop a thief or I'll bash you one.
To say you actually took the gold from its hiding place and showed it to the boy.
Yes. And he swore he wouldn't tell nobody.
Have you ever shown it to anyone else?
Nobody, never. Not even Elsie.
Have you ever told anyone where it was?
No.
Then Smiley's the only person who knew where to look for it.
That's right.
That concludes the case for the prosecution, sir.
Has the defense any questions?
Yes, sir. Smiley's been good to you, hasn't he, Mrs. McKinley? He brought my bees for your rheumatism, didn't he?
He was after me gold. That's what he was after. Snooging up to me so as he could get me gold.
No, I wasn't, Gran. Honest, I wasn't.
Quiet, please, quiet.
That concludes the case for the defense, sir.
In that case, the court will adjourn and resume at 2 o'clock, when I will give my considered opinion as to whether the boy should be sent for trial.
He called Smiley a thief.
Hey, Bill. Looks like you paid up that money too early.
Ah, forget it, forget it. It's my bloomin' betting's got the kid where he is.
Still, a bet's a bet, man.
No. Now you keep it. It'll only burn a hole in me pocket.
How's the sunstroke?
Oh, much better, thank you, Doctor. Once this lot's over, I think I'll go back to Sydney and get cracking on the book.
She'll have plenty of copy.
Poor kid. It's a shame.
Well, I know how you feel, but thanks for paying up anyhow.
Oh, Mr. Stiffy, there's something I've got to tell you.
What is it?
Well, all they were saying in there about everyone being up at the bore, well, they wasn't.
You weren't, were you? You were in hospital.
But Mr. Stiffy, I was looking out the hospital window when I see a man in the street going towards Granny's door.
Who was it?
I couldn't be sure. I only seen him from the back, and I think I just seen him again.
Well, where is he?
There, at the dock.
Good on you, son. Now leave this to us.
All right, Mr. Simpson, come round to the surgery after dinner tonight, will you?
Hey, Doc. If a fella said he had sunstroke, could he be swinging the lead?
I don't get you.
That city bloke, for instance.
Well, I'm sorry. It's not etiquette to discuss my patients.
What the blazes has etiquette got to do with it? Now, listen. I've got an idea.
This whole affair is, of course, based on circumstantial evidence. That is to say, no one actually saw the theft, nor has anybody seen the stolen property in the possession of young Grievance. Normally, we must treat circumstantial evidence with a certain caution. However, in this case, the evidence is so strong.
Excuse me.
What is all this?
You'll know soon enough.
Order there, order! If I may, sir, I wish to call fresh evidence.
But I'm just about to give my opinion.
You want to find out who pinched Granny's gold, don't you?
Of course, that's why we're gathered here.
And you wouldn't like to see an innocent kid sent for trial and suffer for something he didn't do?
Of course not.
Then why can't you pipe down and listen to what I've got to say?
Really?
Order there.
Let him get on with it.
You go right ahead, Stiffy.
Give him a chance, sir.
Let's give the kid a burger.
Now, take it easy, folks. Mr. Prothero's only here to help. He wants to see young Smiley released as much as anyone. Now, please sit down.
Please continue.
What would you say if the dog got up and testified that a certain bloke was supposed to have sunstroke was only shamming?
Oh, I didn't say that.
You said he could have been.
Well, yes, but...
Mr. Mulligan, you must stick to facts.
Well, during the break, me and Smiley's dad decided to do a bit of snooping, see? And we find marks on Granny's back door that looks to us like it's been forced.
This is mere conjecture.
Smiley's dad's still searching.
For what?
I've got it! I've got it! I've got it! I found it, Stiffy.
What have you found?
It's me gold!
Where did you find it?
In the back of his car, all set for a quick getaway.
Whose car? Who are you talking about?
He's talking about Quirk.
Let
Will you?
All right, boys. I'll deal with this.
Come on, Smiley, I'm so
Good on you, son. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Mr. Stiffy.
Don't thank me, thank Joey.
Thank you, Joey. Put it there, Father.
So when what Bill Grievance and Stiffy said turned out to be true, Quirk, realizing the game was up, confessed. And here, Granny McKinley, is your stolen property.
Oh, me gold, me gold.
But that's not the only reason you were asked along here today. Sergeant Major Stiffy. March him in.
Prisoner and escort, quick, right, hip, right, hip, right, hip, right, hip. Come on, pick him up, pick him up, pick him up, pick him up. Halt! Right turn.
Smiley Grievance, you are charged with being responsible. Do you plead guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Well, there she is, Smiley. She's all yours.
Look out, Sarge. It's loaded.
That's the idea, Smiley boy. Never forget the old sayings. The gun's always loaded, and the horse always kicks.
But I'm trying to tell you.
And even if you know it's not loaded, never do a thing like this.
The gun is always loaded.
And the horse always kicks.
Here, take it, Smiley. She's all yours.
Gee, Sarge, you're a real sport and know it.
Whose happy smile makes your heart feel brighter?
A little boy called Smiley.
Every dad would be glad if he had a lad like that
little boy called Smiley.